I am the rocket man they talk about. I jump from star to star, I'll walk it out.
Hey everyone, Shibby2142 here, have episode 3 of How You See Damage. So today we're covering almighty Pyro saying, hey Shibby, degreaser, reserve shooter, extinguisher, how you see damage. Also on my channel, got the comment from King, can you make another Pyro reserve shooter video? Sure, here we go. Playing on King of the Hill Viaduct. So I am using the degreaser, which is what almighty Pyro suggested, so I'm using the loadout. That's how these episodes work. So I'll talk about the weapons quickly and then I'll talk about gameplay mechanics. Before I cover the weapons, I do slow-mo a few parts, such as this one where I deflect a soldier rocket right back at him, blowing him up. That is an air blast with mouse 2 on the PC, one thing that Pyro can do with his primary weapons. The degreaser is a fairly basic flamethrower, which is comboed really nicely with the reserve shooter, which is the shotgun I'm using, because with the degreaser there's a 65% faster weapon switch, but there is a con of minus 25% burn damage penalty. So as just a straight up flamethrower burning enemies, it's not the best, but it works really well when you air blast and then pop your enemy up in the air and then hit them with the reserve shooter. Now I know you might be wondering, but Shibby, why is that? Well, the reserve shooter shotgun started as a soldier weapon, but then the Pyro gained access to it, and that works once again very nicely with the air blast because the reserve shooter mini crits airborne targets for 3 seconds after you switch. The one downside with the reserve shooter is that it has a minus 50% clip size, so between 3 shots you need to do work. Stock shotgun has 6. Lastly, the melee weapon I'm using is the extinguisher, which is the last piece of the comment for how you see damage. So every Friday, typically it goes up on Machinima Respawn. You submit a comment, something like, hey Shibby, the loadout you want me to use, and then how you see damage. That's the important part. You gotta have how you see damage, or when I screenshot it, I won't use it. So before that little digression, I was talking about the extinguisher, which is the melee weapon I am using. Basically, what the deal is, if someone's on fire, it does critical damage, which typically is 195. So one thing that I really enjoyed trying to capture this gameplay was it's not horrible. This loadout is actually excellent compared to some of the other stuff people were suggesting for episode 1 and episode 2. So if you want to see some bad loadouts, go watch them, because seriously it is hard and very painful to actually capture some of that gameplay. And check this out, a little air blast throwing the stickies back at the demo man, and then he blows himself up. I do not get a kill or an assist for that, which is unfortunate. However, kind of funny to capture, something that typically does not happen all the time. Speaking of fun things to capture, and what up, TF2 trick shots, going for the air blast, fakes the reload, blasts the demo man in the face with the reserve shooter. What you know about TF2 kill cams? While you will not be seeing any 360 chocolate sauce banana split, back split, YY, 1600 Microsoft point trick shots, I can only do so much in Team Fortress 2. For actual gameplay, how this works is this is a fresh round, so teams have to capture the middle point, that being red versus blue. Obviously, I'm going to reload and get some health right here. You see bottom left, I had 62 health, now I have 150. Bottom right is my ammo. And if you're new to Team Fortress 2, it also acts as the air blast supply. So with the degreaser, air blast costs 20 ammo, and that's what I use to pop people up in the air or push them away, reflect projectiles, things of that nature. And let me just remind you that if you do want more Team Fortress 2 tips, or you just enjoy my personality or my very sexy voice, feel free to stop by my channel. I'd love to have you and teach you a few things. One thing I'm always curious about is what my fan base thinks of Pyro. Is it a male, female? Is it an alien? Is it a sexual, freaky robot from the future? People just don't know because it hasn't really been announced. If you kind of follow Team Fortress 2, you'll know about all the silly hats that Pyro has and the little accessories that make me think it could be like a lesbianic robot destroyer female warlord mage, and I don't know. So let me know what you guys think. If you don't have a loadout for how you see damage, then feel free to drop a comment on that either on this video or just hit me up on Twitter, Shibby2142. Check the video description. That scout gets away because scouts are very quick in this game if you didn't know. And here we go, showcasing the extinguisher when enemies are on fire, especially if they're not heavy. It's going to be a one-shot kill every time. And I just have to throw this comment in there. If you axe me, dog, once again, if you axe me, I think the extinguisher is pretty awesome. So, I'm sorry, that's cheesy, but just a friend of mine, another Battlefield commentator, says that a lot, and it's stuck with me, and especially using this weapon, that has to be put in there. Back to the gameplay, if you look at the top middle of the screen, you see the time counting down. That is how King of the Hill works. You capture the point. Hopefully at the start of the round, you know, sometimes it's not because the other team can recap. Another little deflection, not a kill, but just, you know, kind of cool, so I slowed that down a little bit, is that you're trying to get from 3 minutes down to 0, and then making sure that the other team is not on the point, or else it'll go into overtime, allowing the other team an opportunity to cap the point, of course. So with time counting down, me and my medic with the Uber charge, that's kind of what's going on here. We are pushing their spawn to cause some chaos, because just sitting on midpoint, just defending, got kind of old, but always it's dangerous since respawn is fairly quick in this game. So that's it for episode 3 of How You See Damage. Please subscribe for more. Make sure you're leaving a comment so I can see you next time.